Hello. How are you? I exist. Yeah. Howdy, 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 howdy. Howdy, 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 howdy. Howdy. Yeah, I gotta do my cool work. But we got a lot of time. We still got a week and a day to lock that in. A week and a day. Just in time, Omni, just in time. Oh, so yeah, just still getting my ass whipped by work. A lot of things converged this week to really make it a rough week. The offsite technically went on despite my lack of presence. But I'm glad because the meetings that we did, the workshops were really worth the time. However, the multiple builds I'm working on were still going on. So, they're really wall-to-wall as far as work is concerned. And that has sapped my life force, as you can tell. Huh. No, I wasn't being sarcastic. The workshops are very good. The workshops are actually, it's just more like we were just having some like leadership level meetings. What godly company do you work for? It is odd, and I don't know, it's probably because of the like small or medium-ish size and lack of, it's like minimally corporate. And in terms of the way that our particular division has always worked, there was already in place a fairly well established, like, we're minimal on meetings. We try to do work-life balance. That's kind of evaporated a bit, but yeah, sir. Yes. Not actually Shopify. I work on Shopify stuff, but I don't work at Shopify, to be clear. And yeah, if anything, the workshop meetings that we did were more necessary because we're kind of light on meetings. When you're light on meetings, what happens is that time it gets filled with getting other shit done. So, you just really, you don't have pointless meetings, but you do have plenty to do. The trouble is that we need to be like trying to figure out efficiency stuff in our processes to try to create the space for more planning and better work-life balance and stuff. Ugh. I sell Shopify and Shopify accessories. Oh. Look at all those streaks. Honestly, I don't and haven't cared that much about Xbox for a while. I saw that there was damn it, Bobby. There was a leadership change. I don't really know the details. Feel free to tell me. I'm sorry, I keep yawning. I'm fucking wiped out, folks. I'm barely hanging on. Oh. The thing is, like, Xbox has kind of kneecapped itself a long time ago. Like, the last Xbox console that I purchased was the Xbox One. And it was kind of... I just never had a reason to give a shit about it. If it wasn't for the fact that I'm a collector, it was a pretty pointless purchase because there were no games, really. I think there was like a handful of exclusives and they weren't really worthwhile. So for the most part, it was just like a different flavor of the thing that plays games on the TV. You know what I mean? And for a while, they kind of had seeded everything over to the PC, which that was already, you know what I mean? Like my preference was always going to be for the PC release over an Xbox One release. So, yeah, I don't know. From my perspective, Xbox feels like it's been kind of irrelevant for a while. And I would imagine that as far as like the mainstream gaming world is concerned, you were only really getting an Xbox if you were already sort of an Xbox head. Probably. Something I'm far more bothered about is actually the Sony buying, wasting, and then destroying Bluepoint. What a fucking just sad state of affairs that shit was. I mean, from the sound of it, It's the reason that Sony has been on a sort of weird failure streak for a while. So they had some fucking guy who was just like obsessed with trying to make the whole live service thing happen because of did I get their name wrong? They're Blue Point, right? They did the Demon Souls and Shadow of the Colossus and so on. Right. But yeah, they had a guy there who just kept trying to make the fucking live service thing happen because, like, it's always the same fucking story, man. It's infinite money. It's infinite money. Rather than, you know, doing a good job, making a good product, we're going to make a shit product and try to make it constantly give us money. And it's weird that they keep trying to do that because I feel like there's not that many. I guess because if you roll the dice and win on like just one of those, it must be a pretty huge money pipe, right? So maybe that's why, but like fucking whatever, man. Well, the problem is that I don't think it is that easy to learn in the sense that it is, what I'm describing is fundamentally incompatible with the with the objective of infinite profit, right? If your objective is to make good things that are self-contained and, you know, like create a good rapport with your audience, your customers, that's not going to lead to infinite profit. You're going to have to keep doing that. And in a sense, it's kind of, it is dangerous as far as like, as soon as you have a flop, you're in the hole. But as long as infinite profit is the drive, everything is always going to sort of migrate towards slop, right? Everything, I mean, not just games, just like that's the whole world. They love to say that bullshit thing too, that they're like legally obligated to increase shareholder profits. Which is just an ass covering thing. It's a distortion of reality. There's no... It's a totally sort of subjective, nebulous thing. Yeah, Marathon is also trying to be a live service thing, right? I also wish that, like, all of these fucking horrible fucking weirdos out there would come to a rude awakening. The ones that are obsessed with the whole concept of, like, Woke killed gaming. It's like, dude, you're so far from the target. It's maddening. It's insane. The games industry hasn't been getting killed by titty not big enough. It's been getting killed by just rampant, unregulated capitalism. Greed. It's just been getting killed by greed. It's very fucking obvious. It's basically screaming it in your face the whole time. That's the shit most people are mad about most of the time, but for some reason, that, memory instantly evaporates out of their brains, and they just revert back to titty not big enough. Titty not big enough, titty not wide enough. I know, it's a delusion. It's a weird hallucination. It's so far from the fucking truth. It just makes you we gotta do something about this stupidity problem that we have. We're not gonna make it. we need smarter people, way smarter people, and we just do not have very many. That can't be the status quo. I know. It's funny because it became gauche to make the Idiocracy reference, but I think we've gone so far around the circle that we are now back to where, actually, though, maybe Idiocracy? I think people just didn't want to make that comparison because Idiocracy does have that fucking eugenics beginning, which is not fun to remember. If only it didn't have that. I mean, fucking... That's just their usual blunder, Doug. Every single time. You can count on them. You can set your clock to that shit. Yeah, the explanation bit at the beginning is pretty fucking cringe in Idiocracy. It's pretty much fine after that, but... It wasn't? Oh, are there a lot of gay jokes? But Omni, contextually, those jokes, they're not... The point of those in the film is that the dumb people think that that's funny. I'm sorry, but that's kind of a media literacy thing there. It's woke on that front. I'm glad you were able to introspect on this, Doug. I assume you meant fit. Thank you, Rudy. No, that's not the... Okay, I thought you were joking. The word I meant was, I think hit was meant to be fit. But anyway. What happened to that command? Why is there an extra space and comma in there? That's weird. Oh, you're supposed to provide... It doesn't have any handling for when you don't provide a... Yeah. Whoops. Oh, hot. I mean, same thing, same meaning in the end. Oh, that's wild, Craig. But Mike Judge didn't have any involvement with Tropic Thunder, right? I have actually never seen Tropic Thunder. You got caught by the cooldown, Xvixia. I'm sorry. It's like a send-up of Vietnam movies, right? But like decades after they stopped being made. Which in itself is kind of even funnier. Oh yeah, that's where that one phrase comes from, isn't it? That you never go full R word. JJW. Is that 9 years? I'll take your word for it. 9 years! Thank you, JJW. I tried doing the math. I couldn't manage it. Yeah, no, it is 9 years. Haha, so you fell for my trap. It's not actually a send-up of Vietnam movies at all. It's making fun of method actors. Oh yeah, I mean, it became a very commonly used phrase on the interwebs. So in my quest to disconnect myself from all big tech. We got another big step today, which is that Nakomi and I got our Pixel 9 Pro Excels. And we are Graphene OS on both of those. And I have to say, I'm pretty excited about it thus far. It is so surprisingly easy. We got the phones. All we had to do was turn them on, update to latest, which is whatever the current Android 16 is, and then plug the phone in over USB, do the web app method in Chrome, because you need web USB support. And then you just go down the steps in the web page. Oh, you do have to go into the settings, put yourself in developer mode, and then do the OEM unlock as well. But then you plug in, go down the steps on the web page. It installs Graphene OS, and then, well, bam. You're in there. And yeah, I've just been loving all the everything about this. I mean, it would be very annoying for most people, I think. There's a lot of like stuff that I'm doing for like extra security that would probably most people would find obnoxious. Although, to be honest, just running Graphene OS is already like you've taken a huge step for privacy for yourself. No, the Pixel 9 does not have expandable storage. We got the 128 gigabytes, and that's all we have. But to be honest, I don't think personally, I'm not going to need more than that. I think that's fine. So, is what it is on that front. Then we transferred our physical SIM cards over. It was painless. Now it's just a matter of customizing them however we want. I love the security stuff. Like I'm using the I like the pin code entry scrambler. It's cool. Scrambles the numbers every time you go to enter your pin, so the way that you enter it is never the same. And helps to thwart, like, you know, over the shoulder people watching you put in your pin. Or cameras watching you do it, that sort of thing. I'm using Image. So the way that I'm setting mine up is you can have profiles in Graphene OS. It's basically multiple users. So by default, you just have one, and it's called Owner. And what I'm doing is I'm installing the app stores and the apps in the owner profile, and then distributing the apps that I've installed to the profiles. Because you can go into users, you can go into the profile, and then you can choose which of the installed apps are accessible to the profile. And that lets me make little walled gardens, collections of apps that I can basically kind of turn on and off. Because with every profile except for the owner profile, you can kill the session. So basically, you can load the profile up, open the apps, do whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then when you're done, rather than just letting the apps run in the background and, you know, doing whatever they're doing, you can actually just kill the session for that user, which will return you back to the owner profile and completely shut down the other profile, which is really quite nice. So, in fact, Image is one of the only... I've only installed a handful of apps so far. I'm using Obtainium to do whatever installs that I can, because what's cool about Obtainium is you can do direct GitHub installs with updates and everything. Yeah, you can run apps from the Play Store. One of my objectives is I don't want any Google in my phone at all. So I am not installing the Play Store. However, I might consider doing like a throwaway fake Google, like a dummy Google account thing. Maybe. If there's some stuff that I really want from it, I might do that. But I personally am trying to avoid having to install the Play Store or Play Services or any Google thing at all. I don't have any home automation yet. It's something I strongly desire to do in the future, if there is a future. Which I doubt. But, yeah, not yet. Someday. That's weird, Abe. I haven't played any Hightail at all yet. If you want to be maniacal about it, what you would want to do to create a dummy Google is that you would need a completely like separate email. You'd want to rent a phone number. You'd want to go and connect to a random Wi-Fi. You'd want to use an identity generator. And you combine everything I just said together to create a dummy Google account that you don't use for anything else. You use it to just establish the Google stuff. And then you can use that as your essentially Play Services provider. And it's disconnected from your own personal identity completely. Big pain in the ass, so I'm not going to do it unless I absolutely must. Which I don't, currently. Well, completely local and secure means that they would have to be there in person in that case too, Fox. Completely local means it's not exposed to the net. Which is also how my home automation and home security stuff would be too. It would be it would be its own network. It would be offline. And yeah. No. So Graphene instances apps. I don't know if like maybe there's a way to duplicate apps. Profiles kind of work like that, Dav, in the sense that, so the way I'm doing it, like I said, I'm going to do all of the stores and the app installs on the owner, but then I distribute them to the profiles where I'll actually use them. And within those profiles, they would have their own data. Does that make sense? But there aren't duplicates of the apps. The apps are instanced. So there's only one install of any app, which I think is much better because then you get all of the updates, you know, every profile will get the updates for every app that they use. Does that make sense? which is better for security purposes and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, God, I would love to do home automation, but you can't automate what you don't have. Ah, okay, that makes sense, Taff. Yeah, I don't want to invest basically anything into the place where we currently are. Sorry, I was typing away. Yeah, there's lots of ways to just slowly but surely chip away at these things. You don't have to do everything all at once. And if you want to break away from big tech and stuff, I mean, I won't lie, there's plenty of things that really require letting go. There's a number of things already where I've been like, I really love the convenience of blah, 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 but I care more now about, you know, protecting my privacy and my data and myself in general from this bullshit. And so I'm going to let it go. So sometimes you just have to make that choice. Like, you know, Discord is kind of pushing us all towards having to make exactly that choice, right? Pretty soon it's going to be pretty necessary to decide. This is pretty hot off the press, so y'all may not be aware of this, but more has been discovered. And just to give you a little update on that, I'll just read this out to you. Unfortunately, it's written like a green text, so... Actually, there is a non-green text version of it too. I'll just give you both. So here's the update. Discord's age verification vendor Persona just got hacked. OpenAI plus the US government plus Persona have been running identity surveillance since November 2023. Anyone who verified age on Discord is now traceable. Nothing is private anymore. And then scrolling on down, here's the green text. Be nerds. Look into Persona used by Discord. KYC, parentheses, know your customer service. Used for age verification. Search on internet. Shodan? I'm not familiar with that. Find weird server. Image 1. I don't know what they're referring to there. I guess the actual first image they included on their post. OpenAI-watchlistdb.withpersona. OpenAI-watchlistdb-testing.withpersona. Lol WTF. Look inside. Supposed to be behind Cloudflare to hide IP. OpenAI messed up, not behind Cloudflare. Real IP shown. Using Google Cloud. Look up cert history. Which, of course, by the way, these motherfuckers are always doing this. And then they're not even, they don't give a fuck about your data. So not only are they spying on you, but then they don't store the information that they collect securely. So then they're just leaking it all over the place for any other bad actors to... Anyway, fucking fuck. Look up cert history. 2023 11/16 created. 2024 02/28 get cert. 2024 03/04 production goes live. Yeah. Apparently Discord stopped using Persona, supposedly, and they're just using something else. I mean, that doesn't really make it better. This is probably applicable wherever Persona is used. And also, by the way, don't forget that Persona is funded by Peter Thiel, Palantir. And then someone else later asked, what does this matter? The government already has your information anyway. To which I said, an important distinction to that is that it's the barest information about you. It doesn't include who you are, what you believe, what you happen to be getting up to, protests you've attended, what your politics are, books that you've read. Those are the dots they want to connect so they know which camp to put you in. And then also somebody provide a list of companies that use Persona for age verification. If you have sent your ID to any of these companies, then the United States government has all of your information and trying to map it to your financial records. This is all publicly listed companies. OpenAI, Coursera, Twilio, Square, Lime. Square, the point of sale store service, not Square, the game company. Lime, Brex, Branch, WeTravel, Coffee Meets Bagel, Flipster, Nextdoor, Frax, Bridge, Okta, LinkedIn, Twitch. Excuse me. So this stuff is not like a weird conspiracy theory or overly paranoia. It's just shit that is happening. So it's probably worthwhile to consider, you know, protecting yourself where you can. I don't think it makes sense for anybody to panic about it. So I don't think anybody needs to feel like they need to fucking scramble to go do anything necessarily. Sorry if you just heard a bunch of beeps. I accidentally touched my volume dial. I was putting it back. No, I wasn't. I just now read what you said, Fox. I wasn't responding to that or anything. So I didn't take it that way at all. I would imagine, yeah, for work, a lot of people probably have done that one, unfortunately. And I guess how useful that is to them depends on how connected that is to the rest of your online life or whatever else, your phone identity, things like that. Unfortunately, stuff that seems like it might be benign, you may not realize how actually useful that information is because of how they can connect the dots to other things about you. Kind of like how people are sometimes surprised by how specific ads are, like people who really give their information just freely away all over the place. That whole thing, like a while back when people were freaking out because like ads were predicting when people were pregnant and stuff like that. And that's because through your phone, like the apps that are installed on your phone, if they're not sandboxed, and depending on what permissions you've given them, even if you think that you haven't given them much permission, they have the ability to see what each other are doing. There's data being passed around, and basically they build a digital persona about you, and it's being combined and used to do everything they can to try. Mainly, it was used to sell you stuff. But that technology is slowly now being used for more than just selling you stuff. So hypothetically, even if like say LinkedIn is the only one you did, if you have LinkedIn on your phone and that information is combined with other information that's been compiled into your digital persona, they may be able to determine more about you. They may be able to figure out that you are, this person on some social media. Something like that, because you happen to use the same username and it's on another app on your phone that's installed alongside LinkedIn. So they're able to tell that, like, well, you connected to LinkedIn from this IP, and that was the same IP you connected on this game. And then you use the same username in your social app. So now we know that this person on LinkedIn is this person online, and that person online said, fuck ICE. And there you go. That's your... that's a simplified version of what could be done, but I think they can infer more than you could ever imagine. Like being able to connect the dots by like the IP is the same as like hyper literal, and I don't know how likely that actually is. But what I'm saying is they could actually just infer this type of information that would not be like discernible to the naked eye just looking at data. But statistical models and machine learning and stuff like that can kind of combine things together to put the puzzle back together. Unfortunately, like this is one of those things where we're all kind of late to the game, right? We should have been freaking out about this over a decade ago, if not sooner. I wouldn't say it's too late. I think that it is still good to take steps. It's never too late to do something. But it would have been better if we had all started sooner. I mean, the reason that these companies all have so much power is because we didn't. So a lot of why we are where we are is because of this. So despite that it all sounds quite fucking bad, also don't give up. And when I say don't give up, that doesn't mean that I'm not saying become a hero. Just don't feel like you can't take little steps. Like little steps don't matter. It does. That's why I'm doing any of the stuff I'm doing. I don't believe that I have somehow thwarted the system and that they don't have shit on me. I'm just not giving them more shit. I'm not giving them anything else for free. And I also really like getting into this stuff and then trying to help and or inspire others to also get into it. Because I think a lot of why people don't is because of the friction or the fear of like, that it's too difficult, too costly or whatever. And I think a lot of these things are actually a lot more accessible than people realize. And only getting more accessible. I mean, there's still a lot of people, a lot of incredible people out there putting a lot of effort into free and open source softwares. Graphene OS is amazing. It's amazing that it exists. It's barely hanging on, honestly, because Google doesn't want it to exist. They want to shut it out for exactly these reasons that we're talking about. So if it didn't matter, if it was too late, they wouldn't be trying to stop you from being able to do it. Right? And I think that's more so, it's not so much about the identity stuff we were talking about, but more so about, like, that's just more raw capitalism shit, where it's like, they want you to have to rent everything. They want you to have to live inside the palm of their hand. So that's why they're doing that. Yeah, most people who are right too soon. And those people get called crazy and kooky and goofy and weird. I love to hear it, Doug. Honestly, I'm super glad. So you don't have to promise to do Linux. But if you do want to, and you have questions, you know where to go. Anywhere the fuck else. Don't bother me. I'm just kidding. Yeah. Hit us up in the Gear channel on Discord. There's lots of people that are down to talk about this stuff and happy to help, you know, and give advice and whatnot. Well, okay, right, yes. This is a problem, man. Like, we have to solve the Discord problem sooner rather than later. And unfortunately, there's just... the existing options are kind of... not that nice. We have the Stoat server, and we have that at least as like a, if everything falls apart before we figure out something better, we have the Stoat server. It's pinned in the maybe Discord is dead channel. Yes, Reddit. Reddit, by the way, Dan, also part of all of this. Also giving your information to the government. Reddit was part of the companies that was handing over information about people who said not nice things about ICE. Reddit is not the place to go. Reddit also has been selling all of their shit for AI training and just everything. Just Reddit's not good. The Chinese government. Man, oh man. No one will connect the dots enough to eat crow on that shit. But man, oh man, it's crazy how people were so fucking, like, worked up and red-faced about the supposed social credit score or whatever in China, which I don't think that was even like a... I don't even think that's a thing that exists anymore. And I think it was like a brief... I don't know what it was, but it wasn't like what people made it out to be here in the States. Now look at the fucking States. Come on. Smart people can recognize stuff like that and take smart steps against those sorts of things happening. Dumb people look at stuff like that and they're like, they're mad about it, but then their answer is always to implement a bigger, worse version of the thing and also not have the self-awareness to recognize that hypocrisy. But of course, they don't, the hypocrisy doesn't matter. There's no point. They don't have the capacity to process, like, To have any sort of shame about hypocrisy, you have to have introspection. You have to have inner thoughts. There needs to be something going on in there. Fluxer looks really nice, but we're a little worried about I don't know, the vibes of the creator. But Fluxer is the one that seems the most like a nearly one-to-one Discord replica. Slack? I'm not sure that Slack is viable. Slack is also full of AI. Oh, okay, yeah. It's yeah, it's not really a viable one. There's a bunch, and there's ones that I haven't even looked at yet, because there's been growing lists of possibilities being passed around, so just need to keep looking around, and hopefully we find something nice that we can hopefully gently migrate to, as opposed to rush to in a panic, but we'll see how things go. Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure Slack is expensive as fuck. It's more of an enterprise chat app, really. Staggeringly racist is such a good description. Racist enough to knock you on your ass. That's funny, Doug. It's funny and it's sad. Yeah, why was like 10% of that speech dedicated to him talking about a dude wanting to kiss him? Did I hallucinate that shit? Anybody else hear that? Or was that just me? Am I losing my mind? Oh, thank God, Abe. Thank you. Thank you, Abe. Thank God. Yeah, there's seriously a portion of that where he diverts onto talking about some fucking guy wanting to make out with him. It was really insane. It was insane. I fucking hate listening to him too, but I feel obligated to do so because this is the person that is in charge of the most powerful, for the time being, country in the world. Perhaps not for much longer. Hopefully it will happen soon. My descent into madness is irreversible, Sith, I think. I feel like all of you know this as well. At this point, you're just sort of like hanging out with Grandpa in the nursing home, during his final days.
They're inside my phone. I got a special phone that they can't get inside of. They're not in here. I'm free. They can't get me now. Not now. Not ever.
That's how I feel. And I'm never sure how I'm truly perceived. But I imagine it's mostly like that. Why not both, Doug? Why not both? Yeah. It feels really weird to be very interested in things that kind of put you in near company to people who thought that, like, 5G towers give you COVID. You know what I mean? It makes me feel concerned. Apparently that was good enough acting that the dog felt like he had to come check on me. I'm okay, buddy. Or as okay as usual. Dogs reflect your energy, so that's probably why Chew looks paranoid all the time. I'm sorry, buddy. I'm a bad person. I think we'd do pretty all right if I was in charge. I'm uncorruptible. I have a long list of things that I would get up to. What billionaires? That was my first policy announcement. That's my policy platform. I would take them up on their offer to leave.
If you tax us, we'll leave.
Good. Go. Don't care where. I think it's just, I mean, I always find that to be such a crazy threat, right? Oh man, the people who are contributing nothing are threatening to leave? The people who are making everything worse are threatening to leave? Oh no! Ah man, we should take this seriously. What's that? What about the jobs? Oh, let's look at the statistics. Doesn't look like they've created very many jobs. I see a lot of layoffs. Yeah, I mean, I think I agree. Go ahead, leave. You guys should leave. It's crazy. It's crazy that people keep living like the sort of like elite crust that still sort of does all of the like mainstream thinking, like the New York Times class and all that stuff. They still act like it's the fucking 60s, I guess, or something. Like the 80s didn't happen when the fucking, what's his fuck? Well, who's that fucking guy that basically pioneered going into a company and just gutting it and just doing layoffs and stuff? Basically, there was a guy who just did the Republican strategy, but to companies, right? Where essentially you fire a whole shitload of people and it makes the next couple of quarters look good, and then you leave, and then the company implodes. And no one somehow connects the dots. Like, everyone's just like, that was great. Wow, what a business genius. And then that's been the status fucking quo for forever. They don't create jobs. If you want to know like why most of the shit is the way it is and stays the way it is, just look up two Santas. Two Santas. Suffice to say, it basically is the second Santa makes the first Santa look bad so that the second Santa can look good. So essentially, you kneecap anything that the good Santa does and say it's the good Santa's fault. And then you look like you're the good Santa while you're taking you're fucking, you know, raiding the vault. And you just keep doing that. You can't lose because people are super dumb and they believe it. They just somehow can't connect the dots, even when it's happening right in front of their faces. They can watch it happen and they still think the second Santa is good. One Santa always lies, and the other Santa always tells the truth. I really am that fucking gremlin that I did earlier. That's all I am now. That's all that's left. Well, you know, Shaped, I think that it's not so much that a system is enough. That's not to say all systems are equal. I think capitalism is uniquely geared towards always arriving at this outcome because capitalism just inherently is going to end up here because money is equivalent to power. Capitalism is about concentrating money and therefore power. So in the end, the capitalists will always usurp everything because they're always going to try to remove every obstacle in their way. And they are also concentrating all the wealth, which means that they, over time, collect all the power until they exceed the power of the government and no one can stop it. You know, like a lot of people like to argue, well-regulated capitalism and free markets and blah, blah, blah. That shit's dead. We're way past that. There's not enough concentrated wealth anywhere to fight them. The only thing we could possibly do would be a mass strike, but that's extremely difficult to organize and to do. you have to have a shit ton of solidarity, which we do not have, because people need to take care of each other to make something like that possible, right? You need to stockpile food because people aren't going to be making money and they're not going to be able to buy food and groceries and other things that they need to pay for because they're not going to be making money as long as the strike is going on. But if we were to strike, that is the most power that we have, because we're shutting off their money. Because money is power. Anyway, that's unlikely to happen, but that would be the thing. That would be the thing we would need to do. But yeah, I think every system we could possibly come up with is subject to what people do. And something that I've thought about a lot is the fact that there are periods where people do achieve really good things, genuinely good things for people. We went through a good period of a sort with the New Deal. And that's how we got things like Social Security and Medicare and yada yada. There was a lot of stuff that led to like a sort of golden age for the United States that was really driven by socialist ideas, not capitalist ideas. It's attributed to capitalism, but that's because we have deep indoctrination from people who wanted capitalism to win. Anyway, they were fighting the New Deal ever since it came to pass. And they won basically over the past like 40 years or so. But anyway, the trouble is that the people who did the fighting and remembered why it was necessary to fight eventually pass away. And if that knowledge isn't passed on, if it's not maintained, if people forget that you have to fight, that the fight is forever, not just for now, not just until you win, but forever, because there will always be more people, and there's always going to be people who want to dismantle this stuff because it benefits them, because they profit from it, because they're greedy. It's a forever fight. You have to fight that forever. If you ever stop, they will get in. And they will chip away and chip away and chip away until they have everything. Which is where we are today. We were unfortunate to live to this time. We're in the time that people forgot. And it doesn't totally matter whether it's capitalism or socialism or communism or whatever. Although, again, I would say capitalism is more, geared towards making this sort of shit happen. As opposed to socialism. But I think you get what I'm saying, right? Whatever the case, if you stop fighting the forever fight, you're going to start to lose. And we lost. Hey, bud, stop yelling at me. Stop yelling at me, buddy. Bun, are you going to yell at me too? Don't yell at me. It drives me crazy whenever I hear anybody now today earnestly talking about markets and competition as though those fundamentals of capitalism are somehow in place right now. If you think that they are, you're a fucking idiot, I guess. I don't know what to tell you. Like, it's quite plain and obvious for anybody paying attention that that shit is over with. In small capacities here and there, maybe that happens. Like, I guess if two kids set up a lemonade stand on the same street. But when you're talking about real corporations in the United States, that's not happening. The people that make the argument about, like, we need her for innovation. What fucking innovation? We're not going to Mars. Everything that fucking Elon says is a lie. He was exploiting you. He doesn't deliver on any of his bullshit that he says. It's just lies. They don't innovate. They buy out and gut things. They destroy stuff so they don't have to compete, so they don't have to innovate. And unfortunately, people are easily deceived. Like, people are excited about stuff like SpaceX because from their perspective, you know, they have sort of this naive, like, space stuff is cool and they like the tech and blah, blah, blah. But if you examine the stuff that they're doing and why they're doing it and so on, like, it is to serve a particular purpose, and it's not the innovation that people really think of when they think of space age that occurred during the 60s, the 50s and the 60s. The purpose and the drive and the motivation, all of that was completely different. The purpose of SpaceX now is the enrichment of one individual. And I'm not saying that nothing good happens and nothing good comes out of such companies and so forth. But it's not this pure scientific endeavor or something like that. Like, recognize the corruption, recognize the rot. Sorry. I'm so, like, angry all the time. And I say stuff and then I feel, like, bad for, like, dragging people into my anger. It's just, like, seeing this stuff constantly and seeing the dumb shit that people say in the face of it all. Not to mention how difficult it is to tell, like, who's good faith, who's bad faith, who's just naively stupid. You know, like, it feels desperate when you feel like you need everybody to kind of get on the same page and recognize this shit. You know, we need to recognize this shit before it really, really, really turns bad, and it's already quite fucking bad. But it can get much, much, much worse. Like, there's things right now that are desperately awful things that need to be immediately fixed, and they're not being fixed. There's people's lives who've been utterly destroyed, and I don't understand how people cannot manage to put themselves in the shoes of those people. It's a pretty simple mental exercise. If some strangers lifted you out of your life and sent you to a country you're not even from, how do you suppose you would feel? It's not complex. It's such an easy moral question that it makes me feel a hatred so all-consuming that I don't know what to do with it. And it's hard to deal with it all. I don't know. I also got upset when I saw people doing the sort of flip side shit where, like, what was it? Shit like the stupid fucking petition that happened to deport Nicki Minaj. Like, people, we need to have more brain power than this, okay? Like, yeah, she's a piece of shit. But how can you claim to have the moral high ground and then I just petition to deport Nicki Minaj. Yeah. It's just some stupid internet bullshit, but I mean, it still drives me fucking crazy anyway. It just drives me crazy. If you're against the deportation, you're against it completely. Oh yeah? What did Ian say? Let's see what Ian said.
Grant them removed. And grant that this your noise hath chid down all the majesty of England. Imagine that you see the wretched strangers, their babies at their backs, with their poor luggage, plodding to the ports and coasts for transportation. And that you sit as kings in your desires, authority quite silenced by your brawl, and you in ruff of your opinions clothed. What had you got? I'll tell you. You had taught how insolence and strong hand should prevail, how order should be quelled. And by this pattern not one of you should live an aged man, for other ruffians, as their fancies wrought, with self-same hand, self-reason, and self-right, would shark on you, and men like ravenous fishes feed on one another. You'll put down strangers, kill them, cut their throats, possess their houses. Oh, desperate as you are, wash your foul minds with tears. And those same hands that you, like rebels, lift against the peace, lift up for peace. And your unreverent knees, make them your feet to kneel to be forgiven. And say now the king, as he is clement, if the offender mourn, should so much come too short of your great trespasses, but to banish you. Whither would you go? What country, by the nature of your error, should give you harbor? Go you to France, or Flanders, to any German province, Spain or Portugal, nay, anywhere that not adheres to England? Why? You must needs be strangers. Would you be pleased to find a nation of such barbarous temper that breaking out in hideous violence would not afford you an abode on earth? Whet their detested knives against your throats, spurn you like dogs, and like as if that God owned not, nor made not you, nor that the elements were not all appropriate to your comforts, but chartered unto them. What would you think to be thus used? This is the stranger's case, and this your mountainish inhumanity. William Shakespeare, 400 years ago.
Yeah. We haven't learned it in 400 years. It's a pretty powerful performance. And that's exactly what I'm talking about as well. Yeah, Ian is he's definitely a treasure. Sadly, that goes directly over the heads of the people that really would need to understand it. But even just in simple terms, it goes over their heads. So, I mean, it's sort of a just unfortunate reality. It sucks to be in historic times. Yeah, for real. I think that, unfortunately, there are just vastly more people than the idiots and the bigots in this country, but they are coasting on status quo. They are unaware because it's so unpleasant. They've detached themselves from it. They're not paying attention. Maybe it's just a sort of general apathy. Maybe it's a general fatigue. But whatever the case, despite the fact that we probably outnumber them, 5, 6, 7, 10, 20 to 1, we don't have everybody actively pushing back against what's going on. So sort of a mixed bag. I mean, it feels reassuring to know and to realize that it's not the majority of people. But it's disheartening to realize that we may not be able to raise them all to action in time until something truly unignorable occurs. And that's very worrying. Well, it's sort of like, I think it's that, I don't know, surely you've had an encounter with someone in your life at some point where you've wanted to talk about something spicy and they push it away. They don't want to hear about it. They don't want to be in a bad mood. They don't want to blah, 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 blah. It upsets them. It offends them. Something along those lines, right? Where it's not exactly malicious. It's something more in the territory of like self-defense, which unfortunately is, I think, a privileged position to hold. And unfortunately, it's sort of inherently self-perpetuating, because if you're protecting yourself from hearing about what's going on, then you're going to kind of remain ignorant and unaware when you need to know that you really should be fucking paying attention, right? How are you going to get that message if you're not listening? May you live in interesting times, old Chinese curse. Already unignorable things are ignored. Yeah, I mean, well, it's subjective, right? We don't know what the definition of unignorable is for the people who are still kind of ignoring all of this. Which means that it is further down the line and far greater in devastation, probably. Dude, I can't even get friends to early vote in elections. I'm honestly super close to applying for digital nomad visas and just skipping around the planet, working from home full time. Yeah, I hear you. And they're really, leaning into that. I mean, the game plan for the midterms is going to be to make voting even more obnoxious and difficult. So people who are not motivated enough to overcome a little bit of friction will be dissuaded. I won't be dissuaded. And it's at least good to know that I think there's a lot of people right here with us right now that also won't be dissuaded. Those who are able, of course. If you're not, you're not, and that's fine. To be honest, I struggle with that thought, Grinder, because I feel like we were, and it was just not as obvious as it became. Most of us who are around millennial age were raised after the game had already been lost. And it was just sort of slowly still unraveling as time went on. Hell yeah, Valencia. Hell yeah. Yeah, we were kind of like millennials kind of experienced something that seemed like it was sort of like the it was a fading mirage. Does that make sense? That's what we experienced. It was plastic. Because like when I think of the fond memories that I have of my childhood, a lot of it is media. It's media. And I mean, I'm not necessarily denigrating that because a lot of that is art. But it was very commercial, extremely commercialized. It was the floodgates had opened, particularly right basically at the beginning of the millennial generation. Because before that, there were laws against advertising to children so strongly. And then our generation got absolutely blasted. Just, we got the fucking fire hose, and I don't think that any of the joy that we derived from that as children is invalid whatsoever. But I think it gave us a kind of a distorted perception of the empire that we were, the dying empire that we were living inside of. Does that make sense? It's not like there was nothing good. It's just that it was obscured. What was bad was obscured. But I think a lot of people that I talked to about this sort of stuff had a sort of lingering or sort of back of the mind suspicion and distrust of like this sort of extreme commercialism and capitalism and so on. Like there's a certain sort of emptiness that you can kind of detect over time, right? I think a lot of people feel that feeling, Valencia. And I don't have anything prescriptive to tell you. I don't know what we should do. I only share the things that I get up to that I think maybe other people would maybe benefit from also doing or even enjoy doing. I mean, I listened to and still listen to music that was screaming loudly about how fake everything is. I'm just surprised the facade chipped away this fast. I thought it would just be lame conservatism, not full-on techno-fascism. Yeah. I mean, I think that a few people really predicted it before it was quite well on its way. And if you think about the inception of the internet, I don't know. I mean, the mainstream is not where you find deep criticisms. And before the internet and social media, there wasn't a lot of places to get that sort of information unless you really went digging or stumbled upon something, right? Like, how would you find out about the kind of stuff that we have blasted into our faces now every single day? There wasn't stuff like YouTube where you have people who've done like deep research and then, you know, written up an essay explaining some thing that's going on. You know what I mean? Like, you had, for the most part, a sort of shared mainstream perspective that the majority of people in the country all experienced. You know, you had this sort of shared reality. It wasn't as fractured as it is today. And I'm not alluding to like political polarization with that. I'm just talking like information wise. It was much more homogenous before before the internet. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, music was one vector of like of people getting new ideas, which is kind of like almost quaint to think about now, right? The reason that music was a vehicle for such things was because there weren't a lot of other vehicles for such things. And now music doesn't really need to serve that particular purpose as much. I forgot I turned the cool music off and I've just been in this deadly silence. I don't know that lyric and I don't know what that band is. Ah. You might say that my musical taste is shit, but I can say I picked one fucking band and I picked correctly. That's how good my judgment is. Nine Inch Nails, yeah. When it comes to the way that my brain is wired, there's definitely a foundational portion of it that is basically put there directly by Trent Reznor. Yeah. Yeah. Kind of lost the thread as to where we, how we got here. Oh, I guess just information. Information explosion. Yeah, I guess I draw some solace from the fact that there is a lot of solidarity. There's a lot of people working on things that are extremely fucking cool. And there are a lot of people that are pushing back and chipping away at all this horrible shit. And I think you can derive some hope from that. I think you can extract a little bit of hope from those efforts. Despite everything else. Hell yeah, Arfie. Are there? I don't know that I watch any that are nonpartisan. Actually, it's kind of funny how BreadTube went down, huh? Not that much bread in the tube, I guess. When it came down to it. Oh yeah, I guess Technology Connections is a good example. Yeah, I wasn't expecting that. I don't know. I thought that he was more centrist. I didn't want to know, I guess. I had that feeling. You know that feeling? Where you know that you don't want to know? I'm glad that I was wrong in that feeling. That felt good. I almost shouted a few times during his rant. Actually, I think I did throw a fist or two. Because I was like, yes! It does feel good to see that sort of stuff. But yeah, I think most of the stuff I watch at this point is has been for a long time pretty leftist. Extremely leftist. Hell yeah, Matanks. Yeah, I would recommend Ben Jordan for sure. Ben Jordan is doing incredible work. Really, really good stuff. Also, I think one of the only channels that I think is doing real powerful journalism and not like there's this sort of fad of like authentic journalism. I'm not really into it. Like that Channel 5 stuff or whatever. I'm just not that into that. I don't know how to explain it, but it has this sort of like there's a sort of like milquetoast vibe, or as edgy as it is, it feels kind of milquetoast to me. But I really like the stuff that what's their name? I think it's More Perfect Union. Yeah. More Perfect Union is an extremely good channel. Where it is authentic journalism. They really dig into stuff, and they dig into it with an actual genuine care, an earnest care for real people. It's a good channel. Really good. But I really don't care for the sort of pseudo authentic journalism crap. I think it's spectacle. I don't think it's actually good. I think people think that it's like groundbreaking or something, but I think it's all spectacle. Well, the whole world kind of went right wing in one big move together, Grinder, which is really unsettling and terrifying. But I think it's been slowly revealed that it's in many ways actually just been straight up orchestrated by American tech, really. It's like a giant worldwide psyop. Yeah, I'm subscribed to Means TV. I'm a paying member. I have been for a long time. Among many other leftist operations that I give money to. I have not seen this, Dev. What's the channel? Drop the channel on us. Also, for a cool Ben Johnson video to check out, I think it's called Technology for Anarchists. Gadgets for Anarchists? Something. It's on his channel. It's from a few months ago. Check it out. It's good. Yep, I am subscribed to... So I said yup like I listened. I am subscribed to the Worst of All Possible Worlds because I backlogged it. I have not listened yet. Podcast-wise, I mainly listen to Behind the Bastards, It Could Happen Here, Better Offline, If Books Could Kill, and Maintenance Phase. Those are my main go-tos. Oh, and Guys. And Your Kickstarter Sucks. Those are my go-to podcasts. Debunking transphobia. I'm gonna add this to my watch list. Thank you, Dav. As long as we still have the Discord, by the way. Drop these good recommendations in the Streams Vids Clips channel. I will say the title gives me pause. You know, when you said it, I was like, what do you mean? Like, are they saying that transphobia doesn't exist? But yeah, no, this looks like it's... I mean, it's probably a lot of shit I already know, to be honest with you, but it'll be a good watch anyway, or a good listen while I'm working. In current events is also fine, Arfie. If anything, it's probably more appropriate if it's more explicitly... very political. Hey, when people think of transphobia, they think of me. Well, basically, Dav, I'm just saying I see a lot of familiar faces in that thumbnail. And I think I don't know. I'm just always immersing myself in pain And what I mean by that is that there's a lot of stuff that I do know because I have listened to a lot of different sources and I consume a lot of podcast and essay and etc. type of content. So, but I am always learning things, so I'm sure there's plenty I don't know. Graham Linehan. What a piece of shit. It's funny because he's such a disgusting little fucking gremlin. It's kind of wild to see people like him who just sort of were widely beloved and then they, for seemingly no reason, destroyed their lives. It's crazy. Wow, he blocked you over XL bullies? That's insane, Omni. That is insane. It's pretty crazy to be a guy who looks like Graham Linehan and be shitting on anybody. Be picking fights with anybody at all. Dude walking around looking like a Picasso painting. Oh yeah, I mean, it is divorced behavior, right? Let's be real. Yeah, I mean, that's the same thing Ricky Gervais did as well. That's another guy who kind of had just sort of like he was well liked. He wasn't universally beloved, but he was well liked. And then he just sort of chose to be a dumb fucking idiot. And Chappelle did the same thing too. Yeah, he wrote the IT crowd. I mean, it's, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like he was universally very well liked for his work, and then he turned out to be a dumb fucking worthless piece of shit. You know, he didn't have a stroke. He didn't get hit with the Fetterman gun. He just always was a piece of shit, is what the reality is. Fetterman's a special case. I think it hurts more because you really, I think most of us would have assumed that Chappelle was on our side, that he would be on our side. He always had a sort of like a working person's vibe, I guess. Like he understands, you know what I mean? Like just that vibe, just whatever. Like I don't know. It's just weird. It was weird to see that he was not on our side. No, he was not. You just didn't, I don't know, you didn't expect it. but that's who the fuck he is. So, sorry. Don't know why. I mean, he buddied up with Elon. Remember that? Remember that shit? And then he went to fucking Peretti's the vigil in Minnesota. I saw a video of that the other day. I was like, what are you doing there, man? Isn't this your shit? Weren't you for this, I guess? I don't know. In a weird way, he seems to not get it in a totally unique way compared to like other fucking idiots like Joe Rogan. Like Joe Rogan is just, he's such a moron. It's clearly that's why he doesn't get it. Whereas Chappelle also clearly doesn't get it, but he's also not a dumb idiot. So it's, I guess you're just evil. Is that what's up, man? You just decided to be evil? Yeah. I don't know. It's wild. It's wild to see people just sort of abandon their principles all of a sudden, but it happens. We have many such examples. And I guess that's just how some people are built. But it does kind of show that everybody's kind of the same as well. Right? Even even massively successful, famous, rich people kind of land all over the board. Although I will say it does seem like massively successful rich people land more on the wrong side of the board in general. But not all. Not every single one. What is this? Sorry, I'm experiencing the whole thing right now. This is totally disconnected from what we were talking about. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. I don't even know. I don't know if I can talk about it. I'm sorry. I'm worried about talking about it because I think it's risky. In Discord then. Well, people that I used to have something to do with in a professional capacity who went on to get into stuff that I pretty famously disapprove of. And I'm talking like, I'm sorry, I'm trying to be vague here. So there's kind of been like 2 big phases, maybe 3 of stuff that I've been kind of really big opposed to. So not the more recent thing, although that is involved. So these people went to that first phase, and I was like scoffing at that already. Now they're into this current phase and bringing it to me as a product, and I don't know. That might have been too vague and cryptic for you guys to grasp. You're in the right space, and I'm gonna have to respond to this, and I just don't know how. I don't know how I'm gonna respond to it. I guess they probably don't follow the stream, because if they did, they wouldn't have brought this to me. It's just so wild, man. It's the world is wild. The world is absolutely wild. I can't verify anything, but I can say ding, 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 ding. God, it's wild to see people that I knew writing this stuff. It's weird to be... And I know that this probably would just sound kind of like main character-ish, but it's weird to feel like you're the only one, the only sane one. Sometimes to the degree where you feel like you might be the insane one. But I feel like the ethical opposition to this is quite obvious, and yet I feel like I'm surrounded by people who are not feeling any sort of compunction at all. Not even for a second. It kind of blows my mind, I guess. There's definitely an element of people who are into this thinking that they're the world's biggest geniuses ever. And I think that's a lot of what leads to this sort of stuff. Or maybe it's just greed. It might just be greed. Like, you tend to think of villains as people that are far from you, right? Villains are far off in the distance. But you can absolutely have astonishingly greedy people right in your near vicinity. Oh no. Yeah, this is basically the sort of thing I'm going through right now, JJW. I'm glad you're here. Can you hold my hand? Can you wipe my tears? Oh. No, I didn't, Doug. That sounds awesome. I know, man. I feel like I'm in that situation like all the time, dude. To what you're saying, JJ. Fortunately, I have created a sort of like splinter cell. My immediate comrades are all with me. For the most part. But yeah, there's a lot of other people around that are not on the same page. Oh no, beer. Fuck that. Fuck that fucking shit. That's the same to me as the fucking like how many lines of code, how many commits. As if that fucking means anything. Good idea. That sounds like a good... I mean, that's basically, you know, that's what you do, right? You can't just come out frothing at the mouth. You gotta maintain. Looking through pictures of a rental house. Ah! What the fuck? Oh my god! Oh my god! What the fuck? Oh my god! Holy fucking shit! That's... Wait, here comes Nakomi. I'm gonna ask her to have a look at this. Hold on. I gotta get it over on this browser here. Oh no. My shared tabs thing isn't working. Hold on. Oh yes, it is. Okay, hold on.
I really love how she just grabs my finger and then just doesn't know what to do after that.
Yeah. Check out this pictures from this rental house.
What weird demon porn is that?
Some sort of AI generated bullshit.
Oh,
This is our
why
future.
is there a salad?
I mean, look at the whole thing is a lot of why this, why that, but this is the most why I would say
Oh
in
yeah,
the whole
no,
thing.
definitely.
Like, why is there a sort of weird little fucked up ottoman in the middle of the fucking floor? You know, no one knows, but that seems more concerning. That thing there. Man, that's the ghost in the machine that we're all going to be subjected to once they force this all into our brain chips.
Ugh.
There's a lot of other stuff that's fucking like, what is this here that seems to be in the foreground, but then who cares? I mean, this is how AI is. It's a fucking shit show. But I love that it made a little monster. It's a really scary one too. It's fucked up. That's fucked up. Why does it have to have a grin? Why does it have to have a weird little distorted arm with two elbows? Why is it coming out of the mirror? How did this occur? How did they not notice and put that up on the fucking thing?
Look at the top.
No, look at the TP.
Oh.
He's talking about the thing I was talking about.
Oh, is that supposed to be TV?
Yeah. But I mean, it seems like it was kind of supposed to be a toilet paper holder, but if you really look at it, it doesn't make sense. Whatever it is inscrutable.
The weird thing is that, like, there's a human mask of a face, and then on a head that isn't face shaped. Like if you if you look closely,
Yeah.
like the head goes like that's not normal, but then like that's a mask of a face.
Well, like the thing I thought was a grin looks like it's actually like the hair. But it's enough of a it's like it looks like a grin, which makes it look like an intentional monster, honestly. It looks like a monster with 4 eyes.
It looks like a monster cut off a human's face
Yeah.
and then is wearing its skin.
And whatever is happening with the rest of the body is
Oh yeah,
completely out of
unholy.
control.
But all things considered, the hand doesn't look that bad.
Sure. I mean, there's not much to work with there.
I'm just saying it improved on one thing. It fucked up everything else.
Uh,
It definitely looks like like her arms are coming out of her neck. Like there's probably another arm somewhere.
yeah.
Ugh.
Good shit, Doug. Good shit. Love that. Well, I just had a lovely 2 hours making everybody feel as bad as possible.
Not even gonna ask how. I have a weird toenail that I need to cut immediately.
Okay. I've also been told that the guy I'm talking about has ChatGPT roleplay meetings with me before we had them. So I've started not asking him for meetings in advance and just calling him, or if we're in the office, just asking for 5 minutes. Wow. People who use ChatGPT are weird. I wish the My Bangers feed on Blue Sky still worked, because I had a good post about this. It was a while ago. Just be a human. Just be a fucking human. I don't know if I'm ever going to find that post. I vaguely remember what I said, but it would be nice to just find it. They're going to go to the AI house and find out if the AI monster is still there. Oh, yeah. I wrote, the job market is going to be so good for people who didn't rake their brain over the AI coals for years. Being capable of thinking and knowing things without a chatbot will go so hard. Hello.
Hello. I need you to show me how to do that app thing on the phone.
Okay.
We gotta show her how to do the acting on the phone button. Can you show me again?
Okay, yeah, it's right there. All right, well, it is that time for me to be wrapping up anyway. I'm getting off of here. So, folks, thank you for hanging out. I think we had a nice time engaging in some catharsis, some solidarity, some yapmaxxing. Yep. Thanks for hanging with me through all that shit, and y'all have a beautiful evening.
Fans?
Thans.